Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Realtree, Hoyt, Muddy Outdoors, Fuse Accessories, Frigid Forage, Rocket Arrowheads, Scott Archery, Night and Hail Game Calls, Cabela's, TrailCamPro.com, Execute Scent Control, and Nikon.
Welcome to Midwest Whitetail. It is Sunday, the 1st of January. Happy New Year's, everybody. Now back on this ridge where I've been doing a lot of my hunting here over the past, well, it's where I've been focused anyway for the past couple of weeks. And I'm heading in for the third time now, and maybe the third time will be a charm. First time didn't see the buck I was after. We'll show you what happened the second time in, but we've been really getting close, and the information really leads us to believe that this is the spot to be. Hopefully the buck will come out this evening. It's really windy. It's probably blowing 30 miles an hour this evening, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Deer do seem to move okay with wind here, so I'm not too worried about that. So that's the plan for today. We've got an action-packed episode for you first, though. Greg Clements shot a great buck on the farm last week, and we're going to bring you that in today's show, and then I'll bring you the encounter that I had with the double G4 buck 3 days ago. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to get my stuff together here and head out to the blind.
Well, today is December 28th, and we're winding down the late season here. Unfortunately, the weather's pretty warm today, unseasonably warm. It's about 50 degrees. Not exactly ideal conditions for hunting the late season, but that's not going to keep us from hunting. You never know what can happen. I mean, it only takes one deer to change your entire season. And tonight, I'm hunting out of a ground blind that Bill set up about a month ago. This is the same blind where Andrew shot flyers. I mean, it's a really good spot. It's produced year after year after year. So hopefully, it'll produce again tonight. And one thing I've done to increase my chances of getting a shot is I cleared the right side of this ground blind out a little bit more than what Bill had it. And the reason I did that is because the times that I've hunted here, I've seen a number of deer that work their way through this narrow strip of beans about 50 yards off to the right, to the north here. And there's a fence gap there that they'll go through that gap and then work out into a larger bean field behind me here. And I've seen enough deer to do that to know that there's a very good possibility that they could do that tonight. So at least I can cover that side as well. But anyways, I'm going to sit back and enjoy the evening and see what happens. There's a couple bucks that just popped out on the end of the field, and they've been standing there for probably 3 or 4 minutes. I was hoping they would come out into the beans. I mean, that's usually what they do, is they feed through this bean field and go right by the blind. But they're just kind of hanging back in there. Looks like one of them, the one I got the best look at, is probably a 2-year-old 8-pointer, but the other one that was back in there looked a little bit bigger. I think he looked more like a mature buck, but I didn't get much of a look at him. Yeah, dang it, I was afraid of that. They just hopped the fence and are heading north, so that I don't think they're going to come through the field right now. But there's a water hole, a small water hole down over the hill here, but there's no food in the opposite direction. It's all right here. So my guess is what they're going to do is go down to that water hole and hopefully pop back out. And if they do that, I mean, that will put them within range. So I'm going to have to stay glued to this window here, because if they do pop out, if they come behind this hill, I'm only going to have a few seconds before they get through the fence gap, and if they do that, they're gone. There's no way I can shoot behind me. Hopefully that's what they'll do. I mean, it seems to make sense on a warm day like today. Well, I think we might be in the game now. I just got a glimpse of one of those bucks down in the bottom here, moving up through the grass. I think they're going to do exactly what I thought they would and come out to the beans. Bet. Man, I can't believe that worked. I saw those bucks at probably 4:30. They were on the far end of the field. I thought they were going to come out. They just crossed the fence. And I got to thinking, they're probably going to go get a drink of water, it being so warm today. About a half hour later, here they come. They pop back out. The first one was a 2-year-old. He went through the fence gap. The second one was a mature 9-pointer. It's a buck that I recognized him. I think Jared and I had an encounter with him actually right here. He was in the exact same spot about late November. Anyways, it worked perfect. He came out 50 yards away, and I had enough time to get on him. I'm filming myself, so it's kind of chaotic. I've got to size him up, make sure he's a mature deer, get the camera on him, get everything figured out. But I made the shot, and I know I hit him. I heard the bullet hit him. I know that much. It sounded like a solid thump. And when he took off, it looked like he was hit hard. So, man, that was perfect. That was perfect. Alright, well, it's about 3 hours after I shot that buck, and we went back and looked at the footage, and it's kind of hard to tell because of the smoke. At first I thought maybe I hit him a little bit low and back, but then as we looked at it more and more, I think the shot's where I was aiming, right behind the shoulder. So got some help here to go track the deer. We're right at where I shot him. Don't see any blood or hair yet, but we're going to go up to where we saw him run into the timber and hopefully find blood there and find him in short order. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, well, we've made the decision to come back in the morning and find this deer. To kind of sum up what's happened, we probably went 75 to 100 yards before this buck went into the timber, and Mike found some blood. And we trailed it a little ways, and then as we moved in closer to this ridge, we could hear him get out of his bed, ran down into a ravine, and just made it up the other side. And he was hunched up pretty bad, moving real slow, kind of with his head down. We watched him as far as we could and then listened after that. But in this situation, probably the smart thing to do would be to back out. We know where he's at. We'll come back in the morning, and should be right there.
Oh my God. See that big old antler?
Look at that. Well, this has been kind of a wild ride recovering this deer. You saw what we went through last night with making the decision to back out and hoping that the coyotes wouldn't get him overnight. And coyotes didn't get him, but what happened was a bobcat found the deer, and as you can see, he's covered him in leaves. The only thing that was really sticking out was his right main beam, and that's what Aaron saw when he was coming up this ridge. So kind of a unique way to recover a deer. We got the deer brushed off and pulled him out of the timber. And this is a pretty cool buck. It's a deer that we built some history with this year. Aaron filmed him this summer, and it was a pretty cool encounter that he had. This deer came running in from a bean field, stopped right underneath his stand and stood there for probably 10 seconds, and Aaron shot some pretty amazing footage of him, and he was literally just 10 feet below him. And then Jared Mills filmed him another time in that same soybean field, and then our next encounter with him was late November. We could tell then that he was a mature buck. It was a deer that we were real interested in, but we never did get any trail camera pictures of him. So our only history is based off of the 4 encounters that we had with him. It's been a long season. Bill's been kind enough to let me hunt his farm. I've been hunting hard for the last 6 weeks, out of some of his best stands, but mature buck encounters have been few and far between. And it's kind of ironic that last night of all nights that I would have an encounter with one, it was about 50 degrees. I went into that ground blind with the intent of just trying to shoot a couple does to help Bill out. This guy and 2 other bucks popped out, and the rest is history from there.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that deer got away. He was right just 20 yards away from the blind, and that's going to be a hard one to live with there. It's the second evening going into this ground blind back on this ridge, and the conditions are really not all that great. It's 50-some degrees out today, not too much breeze. You know, it's only supposed to cool down into the upper 30s this evening and into tonight. So it's going to be, you know, for the last few days of December, it's awfully warm. But, you know, I mean, I don't know. You gotta be out there and you gotta try. You know, you're not going to get him staying at home, and these aren't ideal conditions. If it was about 30 degrees, 40 degrees colder, these deer would be feeding with a lot more urgency. And they just, you know, they can get by almost without feeding at all, just browsing here and there and picking a little bit. There's nothing in these conditions that are forcing them to feed. So we're just hoping that the buck, you know, it's his routine. He likes to come out into this field. He just drifts out into the field this evening, and if nothing else, hopefully we can film him. That's what I keep saying. You know, my goal is, if nothing else, to get some really good professional video of this buck before the season's over. So that's the goal. We'll bring you everything that we see this evening. Anything.
Right. I'm underneath the window.
Yeah, then probably the other thing too is they get you the crossfire where they got 2 windows.
Yeah.
Then they can see movement. Otherwise, it's harder for them to see movement inside these things. Oh, there he is. There he is. We got him.
I see him.
Got him?
Yep, I got him. Don't
What's that?
go easy now. He's looking. Boy, Bill, he's a giant. Wow. What a giant.
Thing's insane.
He's turning. He's just walking back to that corner feed. I'm getting some really good stuff of it right now. I'm getting some good stuff of it right now. He's walking to the east. To the east? Yeah, he's just feeding still. He's still going east just a little bit. Don't start that. If he starts heading to the east, you're gonna have to take a shot at him. There he comes. Wait, Mel, wait. Wait. We gotta wait. Oh, dude, you can't do that. I'm just telling you what. You can't do that. I know. Stop. Damn, killed it.
Well, that didn't work out the way I'd planned. Man, that was disappointing. You know, you've seen the footage of him. You probably don't know exactly what happened. There was a doe that got into about, I'd say she was 5 or 6 yards from the blind, and he was still out there at about 48 yards. I kept ranging him. He was coming straight at me. When he hit 40, I was going to shoot. As soon as he gave me a 40-yard broadside, that was kind of my, you know, there's no point in forcing a shot prior to that. I felt like I could have killed him at 50, but what's the point of forcing a shot? You know, he's coming in, it's all good. But that doe, I don't know if she smelled where we walked in, or if she smelled us inside the blind or what, but she got kind of spooky, not like super spooky, but you know, I don't know, she was just too close. We couldn't really maneuver in the blind and do what we needed to do. Well, then the buck closes from 48 yards to like 25 yards in 5 seconds. It took him an hour to get from 80 to 48. Then he went from 48 to 25 in 5 seconds, just had a dead walk. And it was just tough because he's crossing through windows. And when you're doing this stuff in a blind, you know, you just don't have the luxury of just being able to haul back and shoot the deer anytime you want to. You've got to get them in a window. And I was totally set up for one window. You know, that's the direction he was coming in at. It was all good. And then as soon as he came that quick and crossed over from one window to the next, kind of left me without a plan, and I had to get another window open. Well, now that doe is, you know, 5 or 6 yards away, right next to the blind, and I'm opening a window. And you know, you can imagine how that went. He's not super spooked. You know, the doe is the one that spooked. She took him with her, and so we lived to fight another day. One thing, if there's any encouragement out of it, you know, two things I guess that I take out of it. One is really cool, and probably met my #1 goal for the season, and that was to get some really clean professional video of this buck. I mean, just some really nice top-notch stuff, and we had him there for an hour. You know, and barring any camera difficulties, we've got some really stellar footage of this deer. And the other thing was, the other encouraging thing was the fact that he's growing his hair back, and we'll take a closer look at that. But I'd say it's about half length. The hair is about half as long as it should be, which means it's grown, you know, that much in just the past couple of weeks. We got until the ATA show starts on the 10th, so I won't be able to hunt the evening of the 9th or the 10th, and the season ends on the 10th. So I've got until basically the evening of the 8th of January to get back on this buck. So that's our mission now. I mean, very heartbreaking, as you can imagine. I mean, we've been after this deer. I've been after this deer for 3 years, and this is the best chance I've had. Unbelievable. Twice now in this season, he's just slipped through my fingers, you know, like water slipping through my fingers. But you know, it's just luck. If you look back on the season, I've had some really good luck, and you know, this moment tonight kind of brings everything sort of back into balance again, because it certainly wasn't real good luck. I mean, it was exciting. My nerves were worn raw by the time that deer was within bow range, I'll guarantee you that. But, well, we got the truck parked up here by the house. Got the dog barking, and Mike Sawyer came in and blew the field, what was left of the deer on the field. There were still some deer out there. He blew the field, we jumped in with him, and he dropped us back off at the truck. So that's how we got back out. I don't think we did any permanent damage. He could be back again in a couple of days. So stick with us, keep watching, and I'm gonna keep after him. Well, the buck we were after didn't come out tonight. I think it was just too windy. We had pretty much 30-mile-an-hour plus sustained winds, and then we had gusts over 50. So it's an awful lot to expect deer to come out and be comfortable in an open field like that under those real high wind conditions. We had a few deer come out. They were a bit skittish, but all in all, you know, not a super productive evening, but I don't think we did any damage there. So we'll get back there and hunt it again soon. I appreciate you joining us this week on Midwest Whitetail. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you right back here again next week for the next episode. And remember to always dream big.
Can your head through those braids? Man, it might have been a mistake asking for help.